I had to make this video. I had to make it because there's a town in Scotland that's got way too many interesting, quirky historical tales for me to fit in a single video. So this is my second video about Kirkcaldy. If you're interested in the people, places and events in Scottish history, then click the subscribe button at the bottom right of the screen. And if you enjoy this video, then give it a thumbs up, share it and watch the next one. In the meantime, let me tell you a story. Now, in my first video about Kirkcaldy, I teased you with a story about combat in Fife that was part of the American Revolutionary War. Or, to give it its correct name, the Ungrateful Tax Dodgers Rebellion. The point is that I said that during that ungracious criminal fiscal conspiracy, there was a battle here in Fife. Now, I know what you're thinking. If you're going to dodge taxes, where better to do it than Fife? Anyway, it's just the first of 4 stories I want to tell you about the history of Kirkcaldy. I suppose the story starts on the other side of Scotland, with the birth of a guy from Galloway called John Paul Jones, who grew up and crossed the Atlantic. In the USA, he's become a hero of their revolution. Back here in civilization, he was a treacherous American pirate. But tomato, tomato. Look, I made a video about John Paul Jones and I'll leave a link at the end. All you need to know at this point is that he was a pirate during the American Rebellion. Indeed, he was the one guy that brought the fight across to this side of the Atlantic. At one point, he sailed a ship, the Bonhomme Richard, into the Firth of Forth to terrorise the coast and ransom the port of Leith across the water. Kirkcaldy was defenceless because local cannons had been removed after the Jacobite uprising, and so townspeople panicked at the sight of this Yankee privateer looming offshore. Enter Reverend Robert Shirra. He was the minister of the Cessation Church in Kirkcaldy's link town. Now, tradition has it that Reverend Shirra led townsfolk down to the beach where they knelt in impassioned prayer, imploring God to send a mighty wind to drive away the pirate Jones. Shirra cried that he would stay on the shore and drown rather than see the town burn. Heaven must send deliverance. Suddenly, a squall on the Forth kicked up and forced John Paul Jones to abandon his attack. Jones noted later in his log that a very severe gale of wind sprang up at the crucial moment, thwarting his plans. The grateful people of Kirkcaldy said Shirra's prayer was their salvation. To this day, Fife winds still regularly dash the ambitions of uppity Americans. Although, that's normally in the golf course at St Andrews. But Kirkcaldy has more pirate stories than that. What's your favourite thing about Kirkcaldy? Tell me in the comments. This story tells us how important Kirkcaldy was as a trading port and some of the dangers involved in that trade. On the 16th of September 1598, James VI, King of Scots, sent a complaint to Elizabeth of England about an English man of war on the high seas. A month later, James's Privy Councillor, Sir Robert Melville, sent a follow-up letter to Elizabeth's Chief Minister, Robert Cecil, describing it as a pirate attack. In the post-Spanish Armada environment of 1598, Kirkcaldy seaman and trader James Birrell had sent out a regular trading voyage between Fife and the southern coast of Spain. In Cadiz, he loaded up with wine and cinnamon. He must have been stocking up for mulled wine over Christmas. On the 5th of April 1598, Birrell's ship, the Grace of God, left Cadiz for the return leg to Scotland with his wine and 100 weight of cinnamon. 3 days later, it came under attack around 100 miles off the Portuguese coast. The captain of the Green Dragon of Bristol was an English privateer demanding that the Scots surrender their cargo. Now, interpreting late 16th century records is difficult to know for sure, but it seems that the Fife men responded with a signal that said, "Yermo!" The Bristol pirates chased the Fife merchants, cannons blasting as they went. The ship was sunk. A number of the Scots were killed. The rest were badly wounded, with the survivors washing up on the North African coast. That's where the bewildered Fife merchants faced their next problem. Having survived an assault by English pirates, now they had to scramble to avoid being enslaved by Berbers or jailed by the Ottoman Turks. With the prospects of a North African slave market looming, some unnamed English intermediary managed to negotiate their freedom, and they finally made their way back here to Scotland. Some men from this town had lost their lives. Birrell may have survived, but he'd lost his business. The town's merchants had to seek remedy through crown-level diplomacy with the kingdom to our south. Birrell and associates would be ruined unless they got redress from the people of Bristol who'd funded the Green Dragon. Now, there's no record as to whether compensation was paid. All I'm saying is, if you're somebody from Bristol travelling through Fife, I'd watch myself. Now, I'll be travelling down to Kirkcaldy myself at the end of August. One of the last dates of my tour show, Scotland Made the World, will be here in the Adam Smith Theatre on the 28th of August. So, if you like a bit of Scottish history wrapped in belly laughs, I expect to see you there. For tickets, click the link top right or in the description below, or get them from the Adam Smith Theatre or www.brucefummey.co.uk. Oh, and share this with everyone you know in Kirkcaldy. For the next story, let me take you to the very kind of merchant house that would have sent out the late 16th century shipping in our last story. This wasn't owned by Birrell. It was built in 1590 by David and Agnes Law, ship owners and merchants. Kirkcaldy's population would have been around 3,000, many of whose wealth came from trading by sea. The English East Coast, the Low Countries and the Baltic ports, and, as we've just shown, Spain. The town's ship owners and mercantile class used their profits to build houses like this one at Law's Close, now managed by Scottish Historic Buildings Trust. But I came here to tell you a story about the Enlightenment philosopher from Kirkcaldy who established the foundations of the economic understanding that's dominated to this day. Adam Smith. Adam Smith is known as a philosopher who transformed our understanding of economics with his treatise, Wealth of Nations. Now, a lot of you will know that he was from Kirkcaldy, but some might not know that events when he was a child in Kirkcaldy could have meant that his life and the world's economic history might have been very different. You see, the father of capitalism almost didn't grow up in Kirkcaldy at all. Apparently, one day around 1726, when he was a toddler of 3 or 4, young Adam's widowed mother took her 3-year-old son to visit her family at Strathnairnry. Wee Adam was playing alone near the front door, and then suddenly, nobody knew where he was. It set off a panic, and the family headed out looking for him. One 1895 biographer tells us that presently a gentleman arrived who had met a gypsy woman a few miles down the road carrying a child that was crying piteously. Scouts were immediately dispatched in the direction indicated, and they came upon a woman in Leslie Wood. As soon as she saw them, she threw her burden down and escaped, and the child was brought back to his mother. Oh, that was a narrow escape. Adam Smith was almost lost to the world, the victim of an invisible hand, a condition suffered by Fife miners under Thatcher in the 80s. That's an economics joke only 3 of you will get. Don't worry, it's not meant to be that funny. It's meant to draw comments in the comment section from the folks who understood the joke. But there's one more merchant story to summarise here. It's the story of local merchant David Landale. He got mixed up in a dispute with a banker and retired soldier called George Morgan. Long story short, the linen merchant Landale had gone to the Bank of Scotland to ask for a loan. Well, Morgan, the banker, not only refused the loan, but gossiped about Landale's financial position. Well, everybody knows that's a breach of data protection. Landale was raging and sent a strongly worded letter to Morgan's boss. Morgan's boss hauled him over the carpet. Now Morgan's livid. So he tracked down Landale in the street and hit him with an umbrella. What would you do if that happened to you? No, genuinely. The guy at the bank refuses you a loan, breaches data protection, and then smacks you with a brolly because you wrote a letter of complaint. Things have escalated. What's your next move? I'll tell you what your next move wouldn't be. Knowing that the bank guy was ex-military and you'd never held a pistol, to challenge the guy to a duel. But that's what Landale did. In fact, the reason Morgan, the ex-soldier, hit Landale with a brolly in the first place is that he knew that as an early 19th century gentleman, it's exactly what Landale would have to do to maintain his honour. This was tantamount to murder. Landale had to go out and buy dueling pistols and learn how to shoot, ready for a morning duel. In the morning, the two men faced each other, raised the brand new pistols and fired. When the smoke lifted, the last man to die in a duel in Scotland lay on the floor. Not Landale, but Morgan. After a trial in Perth, Landale was acquitted of murder. David Landale lived to the age of 74. He's buried here in Kirkcaldy Old Kirk Graveyard. You can see his name listed on the Landale family grave. His nemesis is buried here in the same graveyard. Here, ironically, they lie in eternity less than a pistol shot apart. Over there, David Landale, the linen merchant who wrote a letter of complaint. Here, the ex-military bank manager whose loose lips and hot head led him to pick up an umbrella that ended in his death, the last death in a duel in Scotland. Well, that's my stories here. But don't forget, I've got a live show in the Adam Smith Theatre here in Kirkcaldy on the 28th of August. You can find dates for my shows, all of them, on www.brucefummey.co.uk. I hope these two videos made about this town have shown you just how much history there is here in Kirkcaldy. Now, I promise you the story of John Paul Jones, and that will be coming up on screen now. If you've enjoyed this video, then hype it, share it, and watch the next one. In the meantime, ha mi an dóchas go be lamh life. Cheerio and rasta.